Hey there, beautiful bride. I'm Jillian Rosich Kendrick, founder of My Best Wedding and MyWeddingPlanningCourse.com. Welcome to Wedding Wednesday. If you are a bride that has been here on Wedding Wednesday previously, I want to just say thank you for coming back, and I really appreciate following me, and I just love giving all of this wonderful wedding advice. So thank you for that. And if you have been a bride that has returned and been with us on Wedding Wednesdays previously, or you watch it, after Wedding Wednesday, go ahead and just type in, some of the advice that you have gotten, or some of the things that you love about Wedding Wednesday and following me, and just things that you've learned as a result of being here. But for those brides that have never been on Wedding Wednesday, welcome. Every Wednesday I host a Facebook Live at 7 p.m. Eastern, and I just go over any topic that you need, any questions that you have. You can go ahead and type into the chat, and we can go ahead and just get talking about anything it is that you need help with, that you want to know, that you need advice or tips on wedding planning. Just type that into the chat and I'll get to your questions as soon as I can. But today we are actually talking about the wedding day timeline, and I thought, what better way, rather than me just kind of talking and rambling on and explaining a bunch of stuff, what a better way to show you than to actually physically show you my timeline from my wedding day, right? So I hope this will be beneficial to you and helpful to you, and if you have any questions, like I said, go ahead, type them in the chat and let me know, and we'll get started. So this is my actual program from my wedding, and I wanted to show it to you so that you have an idea of the wedding day timeline, right? So there's some preliminary stuff in terms of the actual wedding day, like getting to the venue, decorating the venue, who, some logistics as far as who, what, when, where, how. But when you get to the venue and then makeup and hair and get your dress on and all of that sort of preliminary stuff. But as far as the ceremony and the reception timeline goes, that's really what we're talking about here today. So if you look here under ceremony, the first thing I have is the processional, and processional really just means seating of the parents, seating of grandparents if you're going to do something like that, and then the processional in terms of the groom comes out and stands with his groomsmen where he's supposed to, and then then the flower girl goes, and then the ring bearer goes, and then the rest of the wedding party, your bridesmaids and maid of honor and whatnot, would go from there as well. So that would be the processional. And then I wrote the song that accompanied that, and you can sort of see that this is regular type and this is italicized. And then the wedding ceremony that I can show you that as well, that I had a copy of to show you today. But the opening that we chose, or the Bible passage that we chose, we wrote there the exchanging of vows, exchanging of rings, unity ceremonies, because we actually ended up doing two of them. One that we kind of decided for ourselves, and then one that was specific to my Serbian heritage and culture. And then we had another reading that was done by one of my best friends, then the presentation of the bride and groom, and then the recessional, which is everybody recessing or kind of leaving the ceremony space. And all of that, just as far as a timeline goes, to give you an idea, all of this really should take place within, give or take, a half hour, 40 minutes, maybe an hour or so. You really don't, and it depends on your religion, right? You could have a Catholic ceremony or a traditional Jewish ceremony that would take a lot longer than something like that. And it's really up to you at the end of the day as far as what you want to do. But that's kind of the basic outline of a wedding ceremony, and I wanted to show you that just so as far as your timeline and your timeline goes, you can kind of get an idea from there as well. And then typically when you're done with you recess, and when you're done with that, you would go from there to what we did was we recessed into the building and we signed our marriage license. We got all of that squared away. We gave hugs and kisses to some people, and then we took all of our formal portraits, and then from there Mike and I went off and did our like mini photo shoot, because we didn't do a first look, and everybody else went to like cocktail hour. So then once you're done with the photo shoot, you're going to go ahead and then line up and get ready to basically be introed or be announced, right? Natasha asks, do you have to have someone do a reading at the ceremony? No, not at all. Mike and I actually wrote, like, this ceremony, we actually wrote this ourselves. Our officiant was awesome enough to give us a copy of an example of a wedding that he had done previously, and then we took that and, you know, ripped it apart and did, you know, whatever we wanted to it, and we added pieces and we removed pieces and we moved things around and we changed up, you know, as far as like this goes, this was how we decided we wanted the flow of our wedding ceremony to go. You don't have to have that. You don't have to have someone read. You don't have to have, you know, anything like that. But we chose to do that because it was important to us. But no, you can have anything you want. Like at my one girlfriend, at her wedding, her sister actually wrote a song and performed it on guitar and sang at her wedding, and she had some of us sing as well. Stephanie asks, you did wine unity. Actually, we did. So my husband and I were debating, like, I didn't want to do a unity candle. I didn't want to do the sand. There were several unity ceremonies that I looked into that they just didn't resonate with me. It's not that they aren't awesome. It's not that they weren't beautiful. They all are, but you know, it's your day, it's your ceremony, it's your wedding. Awesome, Stephanie. She's gonna do wine as well. Very cool. Yeah, it's your wedding, it's your day. Pick something that you love, pick something that resonates with you. And so what Mike and I did was we had a really, really nice box, and we basically wrote letters to each other that we then opened on our 1 year anniversary. And you could do that. You could do, you know, 1 year, 5 year, 10 years. You could write multiple letters. You could do whatever you want. But we had this box and a bottle of wine on like the unity table in the ceremony space, and we together, like hand in hand, we put the bottle of wine into the box, and then we put our letters that we wrote to one another into the box, and then we closed the box to kind of symbolize, you know, these two things kind of, or these three things rather, coming together. And that was sort of our ceremony. And then the newlywed shawl is, if you like Google unity ceremonies, like if you're kind of on the fence about what unity ceremony you want to do, you could totally Google it, or the Knot has examples, or I could tell you other examples that I've found. But the newlywed shawl was where the bride and groom will actually like hold each other's hands, and then someone special in the bride and groom's life will actually wrap their hands together so that it kind of symbols, like, you know, this shawl is kind of like the binding agent, the piece that kind of holds the couple together. And that was just really special for us. And my great aunt and one of my uncles ended up doing that for us, which was really beautiful. So your unity ceremony doesn't have to be anything that you don't want it to be. In fact, I searched for months, not even kidding. I searched for months looking for a unity ceremony that I really, really loved and that really resonated with me. And we ended up choosing the two because both were sweet, both were symbolic to us, both meant a lot to us. And who says you can't do two? Heck, do 3 unity ceremonies if you want. Do whatever you want. It's your wedding. Natasha asks, also, pros and cons of writing your own vows. Mike and I actually, I'll show you if I can find it, we ended up not only writing out a version of our vows that were written out and that we repeated, but we then, our our officiant, our minister that we referred to as Padre, lovingly and jokingly, he said, in addition to these traditional vows, the bride and groom have each prepared their own vows that they would like to share, and then we both read those to one another inside of our ceremony. And that was just something, again, like we wanted both aspects. Like I really loved the symbolism of having written out vows that we repeated, but I also wanted to share from the heart. And it depends, like that's a pro to the unity ceremony. A con to the unity ceremony would, or to writing your own vows would definitely be, if that's not your thing, if you're not a writer or your fiance is just, you know, not good with words, having your vows written out is really helpful, and then you don't have to worry about it. Like, I spent the night before my wedding in my hotel room writing my vows with no idea what to write, and Mike ended up writing his vows the night before, but then finishing them and rewriting them on new paper, like the day of the wedding while he was trying to get dressed and people were bothering him. So, again, it's entirely, like, it's your wedding, it's entirely up to you, whatever it is that you want to do, but it's definitely something sweet and very, very special, but you kind of have to, you have to want to write your own vows, you know what I mean? Like, you really have to kind of have something to say or want to do that in order to really, really make it special. Really good questions. Anybody else who has a question, please feel free to write in the comments below here, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. So continuing on with the timeline in terms of, we talked about the recessional, and then the guests go for cocktail hour, and then you and your fiance and respective family members would go off and like take portraits and pictures and whatnot. So from there, once you're done with pictures, you're going to line up outside of the reception space, and you're going to get ready to be announced. Usually the DJ or someone, whoever's kind of dealing with like the timeline and whatnot, will say, okay, this is like not even arrival, but probably seating would be a better word. The seating of the guests would be first, and then once they all have a drink and they're all sat at their proper tables, if you're doing table numbers, right, then you have your intros of bridal party. And that would be, you know, usually like the parents, or actually, how did we do it? We did Flower Girl and, off topic, I love your purple pen. Thanks. It is the, Energel liquid, something, I don't know. It's the best pen in the entire world. I love these. Thank you. It's awesome. So we did Flower Girl and Ring Bearer, and what we did is, instead of introing them, because they were like 5 and 3 years old, we just had the DJ announce, you know, the Flower Girl is so and so and the Ring Bearer is so and so, and they kind of stood at their tables and kind of waved, or, you know, they just sort of announced them, and that was it. And then the parents came out next. Then the actual bridal party, so our groomsmen, bridesmaids, maid of honor, etc. And they can go out usually how they came in, right? So whoever was standing on the end of your bridal party would go out first, and then whoever was standing closest to you would go out last. So typically, like, your bridesmaids are all going to go out first, and then your maid of honor goes out last, and then you. So parents, bridal party, and then bride and groom get announced. And from there, we went straight into our first dance. And then right after the dance, we went into our toasts. After the toasts, our officiant gave a blessing on the meal. After that, we had dinner. After dinner, we did the cake cutting, and then serving cake and whatnot. And then dessert, we did like a dessert bar. And then after that was over, we did the father-daughter dance. Then we did the mother-son dance. And then we had a couple of other like special dances and special kind of like, not ceremonial sort of stuff, but kind of, yeah, kind of. And we did those sorts of things. And then at the end of the night, we did, you know, last call for alcohol. We did last dance. And then we ended up doing a sparkler send-off. And really that was our wedding timeline. I am in the process right now, like I've said last week, of putting together a training that actually gives you the specific times and a lot more details about how to figure all of this out, how to pick songs, how to get like specific times on each of these. This is just kind of a rough outline, but I give you a lot more specifics, and I'm creating that training right now. It'll be ready by the end of the month. And if you want access to that training for free, I say that again, for free, go ahead and as soon as you're done watching this, scroll down to a couple posts lower on this Facebook page, and you'll see a post with an image titled like, what do you need, or how can I help you, something like that. And if you open up that post, and inside there's a link, if you could fill out the form that on that link and comment on that post, unless you've done so already. If you've done so, then I have your name and email, you're good to go. But if you want access to this, go ahead and fill out that form, comment on the post, and like I said, at the end of the month when I get all of this together, I will go ahead and give you free access to that as well. So congratulations, happy Wedding Wednesday to you. If there's anything that I can help you with or do for you, please feel free to private message me and let me know. Stephanie, because you asked a question today on Wedding Wednesday, go ahead and private message me your mailing address, and I'm going to ship you out one of the myweddingplanningcourse.com notebooks, totally free. So that's for you. And for now, I will see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Facebook Live. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.